Hi, welcome back to Catasta Charisma, working with Latex Part 2, in which we choose what size of pattern we need and cut out our pattern templates. On sheet B3, you will see all the different sizes that have been colour coordinated into three parts of small, medium and large, red, blue and black, and which are themselves broken down into three different sizes. Sizing is not allocated according to dress size, as these vary from country to country, manufacturer to manufacturer, and year by year, but rather by bust, waist and hip circumference. All we need to do to find our size is to take these measurements. Bust is taken around the breasts from the back. Wear a good fitting bra when taking this measurement, and take the tape measure over the bust rather than down in between the cleavage. The waist is taken around the narrowest circumference of the torso, typically around 6 centimeters above the belly button. The hips are taken around the widest circumference of the bottom. Make sure not to indent the flesh of the buttocks with the tape measure. After taking these measurements, check to see which size you are closest to on the table of sizes. If you are the second smallest size, then cut your pattern templates out along the red dashed lines. At various points on the lines, you will also find sizes. These match to the bust sizes in the table. We can now go ahead and start cutting out our templates. In my case here, I am cutting out the second red size and so along the red dashed lines. Take care when cutting some of the lines that may look straight, such as along the hem. They need not be. In fact, the only straight lines are found across the shoulders and down the centre front edge. Break down the pattern templates into general areas just to make it easier to handle them. Be as smooth and continuous in your cutting of the long sides. When cutting, use your free hand to keep the paper steady and flat to the work surface. Take care in certain areas such as the armholes and necklines, where many lines for different sizes converge together. Check out the road ahead for where you need to cut before actually cutting. Use a ruler for the long straight centre front edge. At the end, check all the edges of your work. You may have missed some areas, so just go back and tidy things up. So that was cutting out the pattern templates according to matching our sizes as closely to the size groupings in the table. But what if we don't match any particular size grouping? If I was to make this dress for myself that has been designed for the more standard proportional female figure, I may learn that with prosthetic breasts, my bust line comes to 110 centimeters, which matches to the largest size in the black grouping, as does my waist measurement. My hips, though, can be seen to be 2 to 3 sizes smaller. This means that if I was to cut the templates to the largest size grouping, the resulting garment would be baggy around the hips. However, we could still cut our pattern to produce a more made-to-measure garment. In my case, everything from the waist balance markers upwards stays to the largest black size, so I would be cutting along the solid black lines, whilst everything below the waist needs to be cut to the smaller black size of the dotted line. We therefore need to redraw certain lines to bridge between these two different sizes. These redrawn lines occur between the triangular balance markers, the black solid line balance marker on the waist and the black dotted line balance marker found below the waist towards the hem. We redraw lines across all the templates in this way. Basically, I am connecting the solid black line at the waist to the dotted black line at the hip. When we come to the centre back line, there is no need to alter anything. It is such an insignificant amount. When I come to cut out the hem, and so now travelling down the sides following the black dotted line, I cut down to the solid black line of the hem. Nothing has changed for the height of the dress. These redrawn lines produce a less shapely garment, but then it will fit my less shapely body. We can now cut things out as we did before, using the redrawn lines to bridge us across the two different sizes. In my case, from the black dotted lines in the lower half to the solid black lines in the top half. Let's take a look at another example. In this case, the bust corresponds to the solid red line size, the waist to the dashed blue line size, and the hips to the dotted black line size. So we are dealing with a person who has a much greater lower torso to upper torso set of measurements, whereas in the last example it was more the opposite way around. This time we need to produce two bridges that connect the smaller sizing for the bust to the larger one of the waist, and then from the waist to the yet larger sizing of the hips. Again, we use the balance markers to help us with this. In this case, from the red dash balance markers in the bust region to the blue dash balance markers in the waist region to the black dotted balance markers around the hip region. In the video you will see no balance markers under the armhole, but these will be included on your pattern. They are set around 3 cm below the armhole. With our new drawn lines, we can go ahead and cut things out. Hopefully one can see that even with the pattern having been drawn to standard set of measurements, we can still personalize them to our unique shape. That's it for part 2. Please join me for part 3, where we will explore certain aspects of the pattern before getting to grips with using it in our work.